Hey everybody, it's Erwin here, and today I'm going to talk about the 6 reasons why technology is the Tesla of careers. So let's jump in. The first thing we need to distinguish is, how is a career a vehicle for you? And I think most people don't think about this, but there is a difference between working at an aging or dead job that doesn't have any career momentum, career growth, or the company isn't growing, it's actually aging. So most people, I guess I would say 90 to 95% of companies kind of fall into this bucket, which is it's like the old Model Ford, where it's aging. There's not a lot of forward momentum. Where there are companies out there that, despite being an employee, you're going to have ludicrous mode, right? So you just be able to take off really fast. Or once you start get going, there's like an autopilot feature where you are cruising, and it's efficient, and it is getting you from point A to point B in a very effective and fast manner. And I'm going to jump into these 6 reasons why I think your career in tech is a lot like riding a Tesla versus riding a traditional vehicle. So reason number 1. There is a lot of growth and innovation happening in technology. You can see here back in the 1400s, right, what technology was like, and now in the early 2000s, the amount of innovation that is happening and how fast it's progressing has led to a lot of new companies that went from $0 in revenue or $0 or negative in profit all the way to being valued multi-billion dollars and beyond. And with growth, and with growth comes a lot of hiring and a lot of promotions, and being part of a high growth vehicle can be really great for your career. Also, the amount of time it takes for new technologies to spread is faster than ever, right? You can see here the adoption for the telephone, how long it took to get to 90% adoption, almost a little more than half a century, right? Whereas if you look at the internet or cell phones, I mean, the amount of time it took to get to 90% adoption is extremely fast. It's been faster than ever before, and with everyone having a mobile phone, applications that are on there, it gets adopted much quicker than before, and that leads to a lot of opportunity. Reason number 2. While I'm reading you this quote, maybe you want to take a guess. I gave you a hint right here who this quote's from. So one of the billionaires, that's another hint. His advice for folks looking to move, from college into their first career is simply this: if you can take a job that allows you to earn equity in your company, that's always a huge advantage. It doesn't have to be a tech company. It can be a company that makes bricks. But if you have the opportunity to work for a company that offers you equity, that offers you a chance to participate in the upside, particular if it's early in its life cycle, that's a chance you do really well. And this quote is actually from none other than the shark himself, Mark Cuban, and he's dead on, right? The thing that I found, though, is not a lot of business owners, in traditional companies, wants to give their employees a piece of the upside, right? That just doesn't happen as normal. Whereas in the tech industry, I've seen a lot of startups offer all employees, both entry level as well as executives, a piece of the upside, and I'll explain why. But reason number 2 is the upside. So I actually wanted to break down, based on my personal experience and how this applies to accelerating your wealth, because I think this is super important. How the growth and innovation, how it all stacks together. So this right here, I'm not sure if you've seen this before, but this is actually from Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Quadrant. He wrote a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad and broke down how people usually go through the cycles of being an employee to being a business owner and investor, right? So the short of it is, everyone who joins a company, they are an employee. They trade their time for money. And majority of folks stay here, and even in other companies as well, right? What's unique about if you join a technology startup or a tech company that offers ability to buy shares in the company is you have the opportunity to leverage these other two quadrants. By getting equity, the minute you vest or your shares become yours, you become a business owner. You own a piece of that company. And then once it actually has a liquidity event, it actually gets acquired by another bigger company, or it gets listed on the public stock market, and the shares become actually tradable. You become an investor in that company. And there are not a lot of jobs out there that allows you to leverage 3 of the 4 quadrants of the rich dad quadrant. And there are people in the industry that I think there's there's been a study done that Microsoft has created over 15,000 millionaires. And the way that this happens is a lot of folks get a piece of the equity, or they created jobs or partnerships with other people that started their own company, and they themselves created their own business ownership and investorship. On a side note, I have personally done technology sales, and when you sell software, you actually run your own territory and run your own region, and you get a base salary and a commission. So in technology sales in particular, you're leveraging all 4 quadrants in the example of the rich dad quadrant. So again, Tesla, super fast, right? And when you start getting going, you're on autopilot when it comes to creating the equity upside, as long as the company's going to do well. Reason number 3 is competition is insane, and I'm not talking about competition for the employee, the hiring folks. It's actually for these companies. Giants like Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, like they are going at it. Oh, by the way, this is me. Hello. But with acquisitions, that I did it. So Google has over 200 different companies within Alphabet, which is their new name. And what you're finding is these guys are buying up all the little guys, right? Like Facebook bought WhatsApp, Instagram, Oculus Rift, right? Apple's bought Beats and all these other different companies. The point is there's a lot of competition, and the big guys are eating up the little guys. The little guys are trying to become big guys and resisting the urge to sell, right? And then there's a whole bunch of money in the system that's being invested in new entrepreneurs, and the new entrepreneurs need to figure out, how am I going to build a team? Because essentially a business is a combination of people. It's just a whole bunch of people building something, right? And that competition is really good for you and I, because there's so much competition. I've seen employees go from company to company to company, and really been able to move from to a manager role, to a leadership role, or just a different role that allows them to have a double-digit increase in their compensation year over year for many years in a row, and get equity in the process. So the competition is great. When you have a fast-growing company, I've experienced this myself. I was a hiring manager after 1 year of doing sales at 24. I was hiring a sales team. I was doing all that stuff as a 24-year-old, and it was because they needed somebody to build their inside sales team. And I guess I was the guy. So competition is really, really good for the employee. So that's a good point. So reason number 4, like Tesla, when you get in that car, you're like peeking inside the future, right? And what I mean by that is, this is a mock timeline of 2018, right? Or whatever year this is. And one thing I found that was interesting, so I live in San Francisco, heart of Silicon Valley, is the amount of innovation that happens. I believe that I'm living in the forefront of technological innovation. Like I got to see, Uber's self-driving car. I've seen Google's self-driving car. I get to see chatbots before anybody else, right? I see the new security companies that are created before anybody else. And what I've seen also by traveling to other big cities is then the big cities adopt certain technologies, right? They're usually the first to buy the new technologies that are being created. And then, different parts of the United States. So I grew up in North Carolina, then some parts of different parts of the United States or Western countries gets this kind of technology. And then, then you have like third world countries like Cambodia, like Indonesia. They just don't get to see the technology. In fact, most of the cases, they are sometimes decades, if not centuries, of of years away from the innovation that's happening over here. And by being inside the future, you can actually make bets, career bets, financial bets, or just positioning bets that you normally don't have when you don't have the foresight by being in different parts of the world. So I found that and technological, living life in the Jetsons is definitely a benefit, that I personally see as number 4. Number 5, impact. So I don't know, I believe everyone here has at least an Android or an Apple phone, but the crazy thing is that smart device, that smartphone, we have more computing power than Bill Clinton did when he was in the White House. So the president of the United States, just a few decades ago, or maybe 2 decades ago, but regardless, we had more in our pocket of technological computing power than the president of the United States, Bill Clinton, had at the time, which is insane. So these technologies are impacting the world, right? We're able to call a car on demand. We're about to have groceries delivered. Like, it's crazy. So why is this important? Is because I think most people are trying to find their mission, and a mission that excites them. And I found that when I was early in my career, I didn't have that big mission. I just didn't. But by joining a startup, I got enrolled in their mission, and I got excited about it. I was like, wow, I'm working at a security company. We're going to change the world. We're going to secure things. We're going to make things better. I bought into it, and having that mission, helped me feel really good that I'm making an impact in the world. I'm helping securing corporations' IT environments, and it made me feel really good whenever I was doing that. Also, these companies are changing the world, right? So if you look at Airbnb, the world's largest accommodation provider, they have no real estate, right? Or Amazon and Alibaba, the most valuable retailer with no inventory, right? It's crazy, right? Facebook. I communicate with a lot of friends and family through Facebook. Being able to teleport with Uber and Lyft, right? Just like being able to just call a car on demand and having your own personal driver, or being able to pick up your digital wallet and just go to another country, and you have assets that are transferable in almost an instant, right? Like, this is the kind of stuff that changes people's lives, and I've personally been affected by it. And being part of an industry that does that is quite amazing. All right, number 6. I think this is a huge one, because you must be thinking, at least when I did, which is, man, this sounds great, Erwin, but don't I need a computer science degree? And that is one of the breakthroughs I wanted to share with you, is you don't need a computer science degree. In the old world, you needed all these credentials or education to get the job. But in the new world, the game is changing, right? Like, what I've seen is all you need is the persistence, the curiosity to find out more, and then focus on the skill sets that matter to land a job in the tech industry. And the good news is I summarized that for you. So part of my mission, my new mission, is to help others see what I saw with what I'm seeing with technology, right? So I'm launching a book called Breaking Into Your Silicon Valley. In the first part of it, the first part of the book is what I just shared with you, why technology is a really cool place or a cool vehicle for you to launch your career. But when I first started, the challenge I had was I'm not even sure where to start, right? So in the second part of the book, I go over the $3.7 trillion secret. Well, what's the secret? It's the concept of a gateway job. A gateway job is a job, an entry-level job within a vehicle, aka technology, that can accelerate your career and launch you to a path that you never thought possible. And what I've done is I've broken down 10 different chapters and broke down, what are the gateway jobs? These jobs that are kind of tribal knowledge. Only the people within each gateway know which one is their gateway job. And I interviewed all my friends, mentors, and shared their stories and their advice on the different gateway jobs. So I started in the sales gateway, right? So again, for example, a sales development or a marketing development role. And then I break down the marketing, the operations, the finance, the product management, the developer side, the people, the HR, people in recruiting side, the customer support, the IT, the legal gateway. So giving you visibility into what are the different gateways, why are they important, and do they fit your personality and skill set? And if you're missing a few skill sets, what are the different skill sets that you need to level up to put yourself in a position where you can actually take advantage of this career transformation that's happening right now. So, and then I also, after you figure out where you want to go, I've actually broken down step by step. I walked through this process with a friend of mine who was a server at a restaurant, and walked through helping her navigate, what she wanted to do, and then revamping her resume, determining where she wanted to work, building the account list, finding all the decision makers, finding all the referral peers, helping her with the research and getting coffee meetings with the people that she wants to work for, and then taking action, helping her figure out how to break in, right? Reaching out to decision makers, reaching out to external recruiters, crushing the interview, helping her negotiate multiple offer scenario, and broken all these different action steps step by step. So you go from blank page to a scenario that you could be doubling your income, tripling your income, and then putting yourself in a position where you're riding this vehicle, aka the Tesla of careers, so that you can build wealth and build a skill set, so that you can reinvest it into yourself and other assets, to ultimately become more free. And then finally, actually breaking out in a fun way. So these are some of the photos or illustrations from the book itself, but showing you different ways that other people would break it in, whether it's through applying online, aggressively, or leveraging referrals, or leveraging recruiters, or emailing the decision maker directly, trying to find ways to getting around the gatekeeper, and really kind of creating a framework on how to go from blank page and your first offer as fast as possible. So teaching you what I've learned by being a hiring manager, by being a person who started with a civil engineering degree with no by the way, with a terrible GPA, but using what I've learned now to eventually do what I do, which is help people break into tech and also help decision makers in IT procure software. So I just wanted to share this quick video. I hope this was fun and you learned something new. But this is what I like to do. I like to teach people. And in this book, I like to show others the 10 different ways to landing your first tech job anywhere in the world. So I actually go into, what if you're not in Silicon Valley? Or what if you don't want to be in Silicon Valley? Or, if you are in a big city, how do you build an account list? How do you figure out what is the startup that has the highest chance of actually exiting? And it's all covered here. So it's a quick video for the book. You can also find out more by going to my site, irwinkey.com. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and see you soon.